from there?
As well, we have grown up as well as young people who is influenced by negative things and it's holding them back. Like I said, you invite a person to great adventure, old or young. You invite them to water slides and water parks and this park and that park and this place and that place. Immediately, inspiration. Immediately, they're inspired and they're ready to go. Even if they don't have money. Oh, listen, they're going to borrow it, they're going to try, or sometimes they can't make it. But they're just that inspired. But when you say, let's go to church. What will happen is, especially these young people, none of y'all have experienced it, none of you know. I got 11 children. 10 of them went to college. All of them didn't graduate, but they didn't graduate because they got caught up with us architects. And the relationship overrides the will to go to college. Didn't have to pay a dime for them going to college. Why? I didn't have to pay a dime for them to go to college because grants, money that's available to pay for the college and stuff like that, right? Where did it come from? How did the government pick up on these things? How did the government prepare and make these things available for us? It was through the church. It was the church people and the poor people in the church who wanted to do, wanted to have, and then the preachers, pastors those days, you had pastors in those days that they weren't all that concerned about how much money they're going to make. They were concerned about how many souls were going to be saved. So what they did, they bring together people and they share with people, we don't have to live like this. We need to challenge our government because our government have promised us, but now somebody took the what you call them, Constitution. Somebody have taken the Constitution, misinterpreted them, and got it to the place that our government want to stand against helping the poor people. Do we know that when the Israelites was in Egypt, slaves in Egypt, do we know that the king of Egypt issued a decree that whenever a Hebrew lady have a boy baby, kill him. Abort it at birth. Kill him. Why did he say that? Why do you want to do that? We hear it, we read it, but do we know why?
Because the Hebrew people were growing to be a strong people, and they were afraid that they would rise up as an army against the Egyptians.
Absolutely. Just make sure it's safe. They had said, now this one, a king rose up that didn't know Joseph. So they had said, these people are multiplying so fast. And until they're going to raise up so many people until if an ally come against us, they can join with the ally and they'll take our country over. Anybody ever heard of a lady called Margaret Zinger? You? Margaret Zinger?
Sounds familiar.
Who?
Zinger?
Who in you have heard of a lady called Margaret Zinger? Okay, Margaret Zinger was a person who approached the United States government and said to the United States government, those poor, insignificant people is going to break your government. You're going to spend everything that you can rake it straight trying to take care of them. They won't work. They ain't no good. They shouldn't even, they're not even fit to live. You need to get rid of them. So when the first approach that she made, she failed. And she disappeared for a few years. What was the name that I just asked about? Margaret Zinger. Right? Now, I'm going to tell you who she was and what she did. I want to tell you who she was and what she did, and I want you to remember this. She came back the second time and said the same thing, but it was a different season. And there were different people in office. And there were people in office that she could influence. So they said, how are you going to do this without the people knowing that they are the target? What are you going to do? She says, kill them babies. Kill them. Get rid of them. She would influence a Planned Parenthood. So she made an approach to get rid of all of the Afro-American babies before, as soon as you find out they're in the womb. Get rid of them. What happened is that first thing she offered was birth control. She offered birth control. And then after birth control, they were still multiplying. See, all them families down back when I was born, in my household, it was 7 of us. And we was a small family. My mom came from a family of 14. Most of the family down there was 9 to 17 children in the family. About 1 man and 1 woman. So the people, the Afro-Americans were multiplying so fast until she influenced the government that if you don't do something about it, you're going to spend all of your money trying to take care of them. Because if they're in your country, you're going to have to take care of them. So what happened is that they first had to buy the birth control. And it wasn't working fast enough, they made them free. It still wasn't working fast enough, she said, abort them. So between the birth control and abortion, you will get rid of it. So how are you going to do this and they not discover that they are the target? She said, you get 3 Afro-American pastors. You get 3 Afro-American pastors. I can bring you the history, the book, or the DVD or whatever. You can go online and get it. Just all you got to do is go online and punch in Margaret Zinger, and all of this will pop up. She says, if you get workshops to educate the people that things are right, things are wrong, and let them understand what's different and right and wrong, and begin to get to the church and pray and make plans, how to challenge, how to sit in, how to go. We had to ride the bus behind the curtain. When we walk on the bus, the curtain is white. The sooner we went past the curtain is black. And the curtain was movable. So there was a lot of space behind the curtain, but there wasn't much space in front of the curtain. Now, when enough white folks got on that bus, they moved that curtain back, and they moved it back, and they moved it back. And okay, how many black people on that bus, they moved the curtain back, and the black people had to stand up. They had to stand up and get the white folks their seats. How did that come to an end? The church. Come together. How many of you remember a Woolworth store? Woolworth store had lunch counters. You remember that? You'd go to Woolworth store and get to the lunch counter, and to the lunch counter you get the hamburger, hot dog, milkshake, all that kind of good stuff. But white folks could go to the counter and sit to the counter and order what they want, eat what they want. Black people had to go to the end of the counter and order their stuff and take it out. My cousin and I he ordered a milkshake or something like that, sandwich or something like that. I took mine away. He sat out to the counter. They come and go, excuse me? You can't sit here and eat that. He said, what is what I ordered? Don't give me no lip. You know better. You know better. You don't sit down here and eat. He got up and he left. He wrapped his stuff up and he got up and he left. Well, I knew better, like they said, and I didn't sit down there. He knew better too. But he was just trying to see what was going to happen. So what happened is the pastor sometimes said, that's not fair. We pay the same amount. We spend our money to ride the bus. We spend our money for the food. We'll be able to sit to the counter. The churches got together. They prayed. They had prayer meeting after prayer meeting after prayer meeting. They had planning and planning and planning. They went and got college kids and mobilized college kids to go specifically to those places and order food and sit to that counter and wouldn't move when they tried to order them to move. They wouldn't move. Some of them, then here come policemen and what is it called? Military, what do you call them? Guard. National Guard. Then they come in and handcuff them up and take them away to jail. Then they're going to church to the jail and get out there on the steps at the jail and bow on their knees and pray and call upon the name of the Lord Jesus Christ and pray until and we went through this stuff. We got beat. We got fire hot. Don't bring them big fire trucks out there, slamming them back, hot power fire, water hose on you, man, and knocking you upside down like you was a piece of paper. Bring the dogs out, sick the dogs on them. In one situation, they sicked the dog on the people, and the dog backed up. The dog wouldn't attack. So I'm just saying, the church is a wonderful place. The church has a history of goodness and greatness and marvelous things. And if we as leaders and preachers and born-again Christians don't tell the people that all the freedom that you have today and all that the money that tell the farmers and everybody, when you harvest your crop, don't glean all the fruit off the tree, all the fruit off the vine, or all the grain out the field. Leave some of it, leave the corners, and leave some, so the poor people, the fatherless, and the widows can go and get it and have food. That was their welfare. That was their social service. But we make people feel bad because we make them feel that it's a terrible thing that you're receiving assistance when it's God the one provided it for us. I don't know if y'all see or hear these things, but I do, and it hurts. Yes, ma'am.
It was the Christian principles that our nation was founded on.
Yes, right.
And because it started out as a Christian nation, that's why they took care of the poor.
Yes, absolutely true. That's it. But we have to understand that we have an enemy. We have an enemy who cannot reach God. He cannot touch God. He got kicked out of heaven. And he hates God because he got kicked out of heaven. He don't want no parts of God, but he can't reach God. His name is Satan. His name is Satan. Lucifer. Because he can't reach and touch God and do nothing to God, anything that belongs to God, he tries to destroy. Lucifer. You ever heard of Lucifer? Huh? Lucifer was an archangel in heaven. There were three of them. There were three of them that ruled the heavens under God's authority. Yes, sir.
Saying what I was going to say, but Lucifer was one of the three angels.
I can't hear you.
Lucifer was one of the three of God's favorite angels up in heaven.
What is that?
He was given the free.
Lucifer was one of the three gods in heaven.
No.
God's favorite angels.
Yes. He was one. There were three, and 3/3 to students. What is 3/3 make? What do 3/3 make? Huh? 3/3 of an apple. 3/3 of an apple make what? Huh?
You just said it.
No, hold the one. You know what I mean.
Four quarters make what? Make a dollar. So that's four 1/4s make a whole. Right? 3/3 make a whole. 2 halves make a whole. 5/5 make a whole.
As long as there's two numbers matched, that's all.
So I'm just trying to share you a point here. There were 3 archangels. When they say archangel, they mean there was an authority. So what was the authority of the 3 angels?
Unless I'm mistaken, Gabriel was the messenger angel,
Okay.
I think. And Michael was the fighting angel.
Okay.
And Lucifer was in charge of the worship before he fell.
The worshiper.
You stole my answer.
That was
So-
my answer. You stole mine.
Today, music is one of the most deceiving things on earth. I don't care I don't care if you tell me anything that you see or hear don't have music with it, I want to know what it is. commercials, anything that you hear or see, you got some kind of music with it. Music is what soothes. When the king got troubled in his spirit, he sent for David to play on the harp to give him consolation, stuff like that. Lucifer, along with the other two archangels, all of them had equal part in the heaven and taking care of the heaven. The warrior, the messenger, and the worshiper. And guess what? When Satan approached Lucifer, don't you think he didn't approach the other two archangels? Now, what form was Satan in when he approached Lucifer? What was the name of the spirit that approached Lucifer? The spirit that came to Lucifer, what was his name? Huh? There you go. Pride. The spirit of pride. In the 28th chapter of Ezekiel, he said he was perfect, wonderful. I mean, there was nothing on earth could describe his beauty and his talent and his greatness when he was made, until iniquity was found in his heart. His pride was saying, why are you bringing all this worship and praises unto that God that's sitting on the throne doing nothing? You ought to be the one. You're doing all the everything. You ought to be the one getting the praise. What he said to the warrior. The prophet said to the warrior, you fighting all the battles, you accomplishing and you achieving everything. Why you not getting praise for that? What he said to the messenger, you were running all over everywhere, taking messages and giving messages and everything, and God getting all the credit for it. But the musician is the one who let it come into his heart. And God said, when he did, there was no more room found for him in heaven. And he discharged him from heaven. Yes, ma'am.
Since music itself touches the heart without necessarily going through the thought process, usually words are the thought process, and the music touches the heart, that would be the reason, perhaps, that Lucifer's heart was lifted up?
I believe that everything goes through the thought, because the thought comes from the mind. Now everything begins in the mind. His mind had to first become corrupt. His mind had to first start thinking, I should be getting all this praise. And that's the way God designed things. He designed certain things and everything to work for the purpose he designed it for. We need music. We need to be consoled. We need to be comforted. God wants us to be comforted. He wants us to have some joy, some peace, good times, and stuff like that. And music will bring it. And when you find sometimes we go from what the Bible calls it, glory to glory. When we're in the worldly music and enjoying the worldly music, the worldly lifestyle, and all of a sudden we get convicted by the Holy Spirit unto salvation, and we become a born-again Christian, that same talent, that same ability, that same person, and all they know is hillbilly. When he gets saved, he's still a hillbilly. He still play hillbilly music. Christian hillbilly. I said when we opened the church up, I said maybe one Sunday we can have hillbilly service. Next Sunday we can have contemporary service. Next Sunday we can have old-fashioned service. You know, I just wish that we could have a variety of it. You know, when you come to God, there's nobody can't sing. To God, everybody that sings sounds good. If they're singing from their heart, they're singing to the glory of God, it sounds good. Even if they can't carry a note in a brand new Cadillac that someone gave it to them. Like me. So anyway, I'm just saying that this is where God is. And I hope and pray that we would eventually, from lesson to lesson, we would eventually learn church is not a bad place. Church is a wonderful place. Church has done great things that we are still being blessed by the things that the church have done. And I thank God for you. Anybody have any more questions? Any comments?
Yeah, you know, like you were saying a little while ago about the people that's down in southern states sitting in the back, you know, the white one, black on the other side. So back in 1970, I first started learning over the road. So I come out of Florida, I was heading back this way, and I done in Georgia, so I'm by Savannah. So I pulled in this truck stop. So I fueled up. So I said, well, I'll get the back seat. So I walked in the front there, the place fueled the same place. So everybody was sitting down eating, so I sat down and ordered me something. So down there they had a lot of black folks. So I'm sitting there and I ordered what I want. So the lady bought that, she sat it there, and I said, and I ate. So nobody didn't really say nothing. So when I came back to my truck, and I got in the truck and I was looking out at all the black guys, especially local, they going around in the back. They'd get out the truck going to the back. I said, well, what's going on in the back back here? So I got back in the truck, you know, I said, see what's happening in the back here. So I go back there, and that's where all the blacks were going, eating in the back. And so the lady said to me, so, you didn't know you were supposed to come back in the back? I said, nobody ever told me that. I see no sign saying you got to go to the back. You know, so I had in the front.
Yeah.
But everybody was going around in the back back there.
We can tell those kind of stories until daylight in the morning. I can anyway. Times that people didn't let you eat, wouldn't let you do things. You drink out of water fountain, once a colored, once a white. You drink out of man sat there with blackjack or whatever you call it, nightstick, ready to bang you on the head if you say anything ugly. I've seen a man sit down on a young tomato plant, big constable, put his foot all over the plant. Look what you got your head just sitting on. I'm warning you this time. Next time I'm gonna get you so and so off of it. We've seen all of that, you know. So it's time.
Were you a slave?
Huh?
Were you a slave?
I still am. I was a slave until I got saved.
No, like, were you like the one like taking?
No, I grew up in what they call Jim Crow. Jim Crow means you're segregated.
Oh, okay.
I grew up in segregation. Huh?
Isn't that still slave if it's segregation?
Slave?
Yeah.
No, that's segregation. You couldn't go in the restaurant with the whites. You couldn't sit on the side where the do a lot of things.
Oh,
like-
okay, okay, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I was just thinking about when you was telling Sister Kathy, you know, that his thought for Lucifer started in his head before it went to his heart. And I was reading, I think I read it in Battlefields of the Mind. And
The what?
I think I read this in Battlefield of the Mind where he says, take every thought captive. So that's how you can keep those thoughts from making it to your heart. As if, as soon as you think of it, you take it
Are you
captive
talking-
and cast it
are you
out your
talking
heart.
Are you talking about second
I don't know.
Second Corinthians chapter 10, where it says pulling down the strongholds?
Yes, because I'm reading Joyce Meyer's book, Battlefield of the Mind.
Yeah, it's pulling down strongholds and every imagination of the mind. That's in Second Corinthians chapter 10.
So since I read that, I've been finding myself trying to do that. Like if I think of something that I shouldn't be thinking of, I'll immediately, you know, stop the thought process and get rid of it instead of dwelling on it as I might have.
Yeah. Okay. How about you? You got anything? Anybody else? I thank God for you and for the lesson. For the what we said here tonight. I hope everybody take it on the positive side. God had bring us through those things to teach us how to love Him and teach us how to be strong. And I don't care what a person has done to you, we have to forgive them. And if we don't forgive, then God don't forgive us. That issue came across my desk today. This lady is struggling with her and her husband have 4 children, and somehow he got mixed up and had a baby outside the family, a baby by somebody else, 4 years ago. 4 years ago. They still together, live together, but it's a struggle. They hardly, I don't even understand the situation, how they live together, and their communication is not good. They fuss, they fight, they argue, carry on. So they're supposed to come and talk to me and see if they can get some stuff cleared up. The works of the devil is so true and it's so powerful. So if we don't have Jesus living in us, we don't have a chance. And like you're saying about being careful, and when you find yourself thinking, I found what worked for me is when I first got saved, and I know without a shadow of doubt I was filled with the Holy Ghost, but I had to grow. I had to go through some things. But as I grew and grew closer to the Lord and followed the first songs, I found myself being in a lifestyle that I didn't have to make good efforts. It was part of my life. And things that wasn't right, it was just part of my life to resist, to turn away from. Not saying I don't have temptation, don't have temptation always. But it's part of my lifestyle. So this couple, such a beautiful couple, and have 4. The oldest child is 18, the other one's 16, in high school. And I just pray, I need you guys to pray with me that I may be able to help them. Because unforgiveness would fill us with diseases, crippleness